Clare Arnold runs a successful business in Cheltenham called Maple Rock Design. But a few years ago, when her husband Steve tragically passed away, the family security became threatened.
He'd been running the business since we created it, until he became ill. He was a graphic designer. I am not a designer. I am an administrator. I had 17 years in academic publishing before I finally made the jump and joined Steve. And thank goodness I did, because it enabled me just to step right in. We had fabulous family life. So yeah, absolutely, as you'd expect, a family with 2 children and a dog. Steve was very gregarious. If he could be out and about, he would be. The sport was the first thing that was how we recognised that he wasn't very well. And he was finding that whereas on a Sunday he used to do 50 or 60 miles on a bike, he'd be doing perhaps 30 and be exhausted. And that showed up really before the actual physical symptoms with the enlarged lymph node in his neck. He wasn't able to have the lymph node out until the 5th of November, which was only 13 days before he died. The children coped very differently. They sat down and they said, "What's happening with Daddy?" And I tried not to say the words, but in the end they couldn't understand. They just thought, you know, and I tried to say to them all the medicine they gave Daddy didn't help, and Daddy died. And it's a noise, the wail, that will stay with me and anybody else that was in that room forever. It was just the most unbelievably awful noise. When the initial shock of it all happening had sort of sunk in, I had a small filing box, and I had some things were in my name, some things were in joint names. Very fortunate, my financial advisor helped me through that, literally took the papers for me.
Claire was obviously devastated and needed to focus on herself and the family. And I see part of our role as financial advisors to help guide people through the maze of making a claim.
Steve's attitude was happy to and willing to take out cover that would, you know, cover the basics if something happened. But it never ever occurred to him or myself that we would be in the situation that we would have to claim.
Steve made a decision at that time only to take the cover out enough to cover the mortgage, which, although I left them in a better position than what they did when they met me, they should have had more.
I have been incredibly lucky. The mortgage and the house were safe. But, you know, there is still the ongoing living costs. I was 39 when Steve died. Maddie was 5, Isabel was 10. There's a lot of life ahead, and a lot of costs ahead. So I think, yeah, in hindsight, I would have definitely taken out more. I certainly can't begin to imagine what it would have been like if we hadn't have taken out cover. I think I would have lost so much more than just losing my husband and the children's father. It'd be like losing him all over again.